Hey, you guys finally showed up.
That's right, come on.
Welcome to Two Guys Garage, man. As you can tell, we are elbows deep in a VW.
Yeah, now we got a hot hatch going on today. What that means for us, it's starting with a pretty cool car and turning it up big time with a huge turbo.
Oh, we're talking 200 to almost 400 horsepower. You're gonna want to see this. All right, what we have here is a little stick of dynamite, like an M80. Now, it's a 2013 Golf TSI, and these things can get turned up and nasty.
Yeah, and when he says stick of dynamite, that's not what blew all this out. I mean, we did that. That didn't come in like that, or it didn't happen, but yeah, so this is in that hot hatch category. I mean, and what is that if you're not familiar with it? Maybe you're a muscle guy, you know, whatever. But it's typically, you know, a small, little, economical, light, fast, zippy, and maybe if you have a hatchback, it puts you in the class of hatch.
Yeah,
you know, hot hatch.
Dude, they're quick, nimble, real throttle responsive. But you turn these things up, you got a few hundred horsepower under the hood. All of a sudden, this car becomes a worthy adversary to any competition you're gonna, you know, step up to that line at. You know,
that's true. That's true. Now this is an MK6 body, so sixth generation. Now there's another one out, the newer ones, MK7. So they've been building this since 1974, tens of millions, and this one actually was built in Wolfsburg, Germany.
Nice.
Yeah, now this one, right, you have a base model, there's some naturally aspirated versions. This one is the GTI, so it's kind of that middle of the road performance pack. It's, you know, punching about 200 out of this TSI. Now there's an FSI, goes in the Golf R. That's top dog, but it also is top dog. Yeah, exactly. So F in the FSI, I mean, it means something like fuel stratified injection, but to us, it's just faster.
Yep. So we're gonna dive into this thing, take this turbo out, our intake manifold here, and replace our intercooler. And that's just the first part. That's just up here.
And we got stuff under the bottom. So, all right, we got lots of things out of the way. We still got more to go, but this is the meaty, fun part. So you guys are in just the right moment to have some fun with us.
Okay, just a few more things to get loose on our intake manifold, and as intake manifolds go, this one's actually pretty easy to get to and around.
Yeah, but what's kind of interesting, I don't know if I've ever had to take off an oil filter, what Willie just did to get an intake off. Kind of unique, but hey, that's where they put it, right?
Hey, it drains right back, makes it really simple.
Yeah,
easy, all right?
Easy to get to, you don't have to get out of the car.
All right, got the fuel pump, the high pressure line off.
Yep, so here's our high pressure pump there, and the line is free.
Okay.
Let's see, piece of here off from there.
Now, again, a couple of them are tight to get to. They're all torqued, so, you know, just take your time, make sure everything's unplugged. There's one right up underneath here that's kind of difficult to get to. Have some patience, and you'll be fine. All right, I think it should be close. Anything hanging us up?
Yeah,
all right, sweet.
Yeah.
Now check this out. All right, got a little flapper valve here. Now, that's to, what, push the air some certain direction or something, a certain RPM?
Yeah, you'll see this on a lot of newer cars. They're trying to get a little bit more sort of tumble and get more fuel mixing.
Okay.
But what's interesting about these guys, the way they do it, see, that's how it actuates. It kind of opens up, you know, when you need power, closes off at light loads where you have low velocities, right? It's all about, you know, getting that fuel air mix. And if you look over here, what's unique about Volkswagen and Audi is this really unique sort of divider plate, right?
What's this? Yeah.
So that pulls out, and it actually separates the high side and low side of the port, and it works in conjunction with this guy. So with that being like that, it sends most of the air at light loads over the top side. Now, why you do that might need a little more explanation.
All right, man. You know what? I think you need to go over to the board and get your mind gooey on it. I'll get after this intercooler, and you can educate us on what these little guys do.
Well, that's a plate, but yeah, it's doing something.
Yes. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll take that with me.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a good question. Why would you ever choke off all but this much airflow going into your cylinder head, right? We're all about making performance. Well, let's look at the cylinder head and the combustion process, and it might make a little more sense. So to make the flow, right, to get performance, we want a bunch of air in there. Typically, you want to stand this intake port up as high as you can so you get flow coming around all sides of that valve, and you just sort of fill and dump the air in. So we typically call that a dump port. But any performance guy, any racer has learned over the years that you actually need to mix the air and the fuel, so you need some mixture motion. Well, if you go to a 2-valve setup, this is the top view, right, intake and exhaust, you kind of get a natural swirl as it's dropping in, so we call that more of a swirl port. But back over here, because you've got both valves coming in, you don't get the swirl. Well, one option is you kind of lay this port down, and then you get, just by direction of the port, more air over the top, and you start to get some tumble motion, right? Well, once you put DI in here, and you're spraying in the cylinder, and you're actually about to hit the cylinder walls and the piston with the fuel, the OEs have really started on these DI turbo engines, raising the floor up, choking off the flow down here, and really forcing all the air to come over here, form a curtain so it keeps the fuel from hitting, and swirl this around, not say violently, but pretty effectively, so you keep the fuel off the cylinder, off the piston, and you mix it and you get good clean combustion, which is all great, except when you want to go make power. So to go make power, you need to do something more like this. This is from HPA Motorsports. This is where we're gonna get more airflow in, get rid of the mechanism, get better runners, and if you can see this cutaway version, we've got CNC ports, we've got all the airflow, we've got nice sort of trumpet shapes, and if you look at the plenum is about 42% bigger, so we can take bigger gulps of air, and we've got really nice runner shapes in there, so this is gonna allow us with the turbo to get rid of a little constriction, because if you look back at the way Volkswagen did it, it's kind of clever. They got a plate and a little close-off ramp in the intake, and that's how they're getting all of this swirl motion, but they're being able to open it up and letting it breathe more like a high-flow port. We're gonna open it up all the way and get it to run more like a race car. All right, we're gonna take a break, but we got the manifold going on and a whole bunch of other goodies, so stick around.
So the GTI was conceived by a small team of Volkswagen engineers as a secret side project in the 1970s, combining performance and economy in a compact package. So many have suggested that the GTI introduced the concept of the hot hatch. So true or false? When first released in North America, the GTI was marketed as the Rabbit GTI. We'll have the answer after the break. So was the VW Rabbit GTI the very first version of the GTI to debut in America? Indeed it was, and it made its US debut in 1983. The next American release would come just 2 years later, with the Golf GTI hitting the market in 1985. This Two Guys Garage IQ test is brought to you by Federated Auto Parts.
Man, some nice work.
Yeah, well, you were over there educating people. I was over here doing work, but I will tell you, when you have this intake off, it's a great time to do some carbon cleaning. Difficult to get to, right? And you want to file down those little nubs on that little valve in there that you were talking about.
Yeah,
right?
little divider plate. Get the intake to seat down nice.
There you
Dude,
go.
that looks great. HPA Motorsports nailed that and nailed our intercooler.
Yeah.
And you can see we've got an intercooler here. Willie's gonna show the old one.
Look at
and
that.
all the plumbing to go with it.
All right, just right out of the gate, you see the volume that this one houses compared to this light one. Also, plastic tanks, no go. Cast in tanks, a lot stronger, a lot more durable, a lot more robust, especially when you're throwing a lot of boost to it. How much boost do you need? All of it.
Yeah, more.
All right. Now, let me show you something cool about this particular intercooler. Now, this is the tube and fin type as opposed to the bar and plate. Now, obviously, there's top mount, front mount and side mount intercoolers. This is a front mount that's gonna lower that temperature the best and be most efficient. Now, it allows air to pass through here, also through the radiator that's cooling the head. Cooling was kind of a big thing in mind when the guys at HPA went after this kit aggressively. Yeah. So again, great design, all right? Like I said, cast intakes, tube and fin, the volume is a lot more. I just like what they did here.
Yeah, good solid piece. Now, let me provide some elbow grease and sort of holding all this stuff for you, man. I'll let you run all the fasteners in.
Okay.
This is a little bit, the way we've set it up, precarious, but
pretty simple. Now, a good rule of thumb is if you could drop your inlet temperature by about 10 degrees, that gives you about 1% of power. So using that style formula, you can see, man, you get a right intercooler combined with the right piping, the right turbo, and all of a sudden everything gets real efficient, real happy, and real powerful.
All right, with the intercooler pretty much mounted, now we just gotta plumb it, get all that connected, and then we get to move on to that magical turbo.
Yeah.
All right, gang. Now this is where we turn up the volume. Yeah. Now the intake, the intercooler, those are just bigger speakers.
Amen, right? All right, let's start and look right here, and you'll see the KO3 turbo compared to the KO4 turbo, which is a serious upgrade. All right, now let's start back here at this turbine wheel. If you can get a good look down here, you see I cut a little cardboard, sort of fit around it, and you can see how small that turbine wheel is. Now let's compare it to the turbine wheel on the KO4, and you'll see significant difference, and that obviously is gonna mean, happy turboing.
Happy turboing, yeah, that's right. So you can see the bigger size on the exhaust. So this is gonna allow a lot more flow, a lot more power.
Yeah.
Now, this whole system is from HPA Motorsports. Now, these guys have been racing. They've been in business for 25 years. Yeah. They're in the Pirelli World Challenge.
Hey.
I mean, they're killing it,
yeah,
man.
they're legit. They turn these things up. They're track tested. They live, eat, and breathe this stuff.
Yeah. Now, what they've brought to the table is just because I have a bigger turbo from the FSI versus the TSI,
right,
doesn't mean it fits. Doesn't mean it's matched well, right?
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've taken the exhaust side, the bigger side, and they've reworked the whole front end, the cold side, right?
Now, one thing I noticed right out of the gate is they eliminated the muffler right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of muffler delete.
Yeah, so that's just something that takes away a little funny hoot noises and weird things.
Hoot.
But as a race car guy, we don't care. We love turbo sounds, right? Now, the other thing they've done is they've kept the factory recirculation valve location, right? So this works just like it should. Nice. All the other ins and outs just connect up, and then on the inside, the compressor wheel, they've really tuned and shaped that specifically for this car.
Right, and balance it and everything else. Now all we gotta do is get this on.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
So that didn't sound good, man.
My stomach made some weird noise. I'm gonna send the pizza down to check it out. When we come back, we'll tackle the exhaust. It was like, whoa.
I don't know if a pizza's such a good idea, man. Is there something else, like a vegan sandwich or?
This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by Covercraft. Protection for whatever you drive.
Hey, welcome back. Now we're on our 2013 Volkswagen Golf GTI and mega power upgrade. Now look right here, one of the prettiest looking exhaust systems on the planet.
I'm telling you, usually the words pretty and exhaust don't go together in the same sentence, but this stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah, and highly functional. So we're gonna start at the back first. So check out, the original factory muffler. Over here, we've got two high flow mufflers, and what's totally unique, a mechanical kind of dump valve. So when you really mat on that thing, you need to clear all that exhaust out so you can get maximum spool up on that turbo. So this valve will open and bypass the back section and get you spooled up quick and make some big power when you're wide open throttle. Now, if we work our way to the front, we got sort of a mid muffler here, which is great, another high flow system, and we're gonna work our way up towards that front end and the downpipe.
Right, and just to keep note, you can see the difference just in the size, 3-inch mandrel bent. And let me show you just some of the stuff they did to alleviate all the restrictions from the factory. Now, here's your cat from the factory. Ceramic, you could obviously see that's gonna be restrictive. And obviously, better flow here. You have your spot for your O2 sensors, right? Pre-cat, post-cat on this side. Here's your cat facing this one. So really a nice system, super clean, and 3-inch mandrel bent.
Show them
Plus,
the cell density
the
on
cat
that.
in this compared to, let's say, the ceramic material you have here compared to the metallic material you have here. Obviously, high flow compared to very restrictive what you have in this factory setup.
Yeah, and what's nice is because it's metallic, we're making a lot more horsepower. It's gonna be a lot more durable and downstream. So I think we need to get this thing out in the dumpster and put the shiny stuff up under the car.
Yeah, man.
Nailed it, man, nailed it.
Yeah, man. Awesome. All right. Now, speaking of some great new stuff, got a lot more for you over here. Come
Look
on.
what just came in.
Yeah. All right, man. Look what we got from Brothers.
Yeah, now Brothers Trucks has everything for GMC and Chevys from 1947 all the way to 1987. I'm telling you, that's a lot of stuff.
A ton.
Yeah, but what we got here today is their factory correct wiring harness in the system. It's great.
Yeah, it is. And the great part about it is it's modular, meaning you could replace the entire system, or you could pick pieces that are, you know, I don't know, messed up, jacked up, burnt up, or whatever. And they also allow you to upgrade it for technology and modernize your gauges and your wiring harness.
Yeah, now they're made from GM schematics, so everything is factory fit, plug and play, just a perfect way to go.
All right, check this out. It's Purple Power Hand Cleaner. You're probably familiar with Purple Power for their cleaner and degreaser.
Yeah, now when it comes to making a mess in the shop, that's what we live for. But at some point, you gotta clean up all that grease, grime, and dirt off your hands, and Purple Power has got you covered.
So what's great about this hand cleaner is you could use it with or without water. So even if you're not near a sink, you can easily get rid of grease, paint, glue, you name it, and not worry about bringing that mess with you.
Now it's got all the goods inside, from natural orange citrus oils for that strong cleaning power to the conditioners to take good care of dry, cracked hands.
All right, now check this out. You guys have probably heard the name before, Iron Tight All-Weather Seal. It's been a secret weapon for a lot of mechanics for like 50 years, but now it's available to anybody dealing with a cooling system issue, you know?
Yeah, now all-weather seal goes to work in 10 minutes or less. It'll seal up leaks in your radiator, cylinder heads, intake gaskets, heater cores, and it'll actually stay blended in the cooling system so it can prevent future leaks.
Here's what I like about it. It's a pour and go formula, which makes it easy to use on every engine type you can imagine and with all types of antifreeze.
Yeah, and if you want to take it to the next level, treat your whole system first with thorough flush, because that's going to get rid of the rust, scale, grease, and oils, all that sludge in there, you know, make your whole cooling system nice and fresh.
OE cylinder head fasteners need to be replaced for several reasons, including damage, corrosion, or improper installation such as over-torquing. Plus, factory fasteners are often designed for one-time use and not made to withstand the stress from high-performance upgrades. Upon inspection of a stock fastener, if you notice that the threads are damaged or rusted, you definitely need to replace them with new fasteners like these from ARP. It's important to use the proper torque when tightening fasteners on a cylinder head to provide optimum clamping force and to prevent damage to the fasteners. With ARP bolts, you should always use a chamfered washer to create clearance for the radius between the shank and the head of the bolt. Position the chamfer side of the washer toward the bottom of the bolt head. Apply lubrication to the chamfered face of the washer, as well as the threads on the bolt. ARP fastener kits come with Ultra Torque Fastener Assembly lubricant to help ensure an even, accurate clamp load. Torque the fasteners evenly in 3 stages. You can mark the head of each fastener with a yellow grease pencil to keep track of rotation distance after each torque stage. The amount of travel for each fastener at each level of torque should be similar. This will ensure proper clamping force. This tech tip is brought to you by ARP, Automotive Racing Products.
All right, this is where you start getting little tingles of excitement because we're so close to driving. Now, from HPA, we've got a whole tuning setup that's super simple. It basically comes with this little OBD port tool interface, plugs into the car. The other end, you can see, just goes right into your laptop. So, boom, now I'm powered up, I'm talking. All I gotta do is download a little software interface. I'll take all my ECU information, send it to them. They'll send me the exact tune for my car, plug it in, and baby, we're ready to turn the key and fire this thing up. So, all right, we'll get that done. Stick around.
Our final touch on the golf project comes in the form of a bottle. It's from Hot Shot Secret. It is their Stiction Eliminator. Now, it's the only additive that adds superior cleaning and lubricating properties to your entire oiling system. Now, believe it or not, a carbon cleanup on this car is just over $600. And you saw the carbon, that we were cleaning earlier. So why do that, right? Have that costly repair when you can pick up some Stiction Eliminator and it's a real difficult process. You simply pour it in. Now imagine all that coking, all that oil, getting on things like camshaft, your turbo bearing. Well, these cleaning agents are gonna get in there and get rid of all that carbon buildup, fight that heat that these motors are notorious for. And look how difficult this is. You just pour it in. From Hot Shot Secret, Stiction Eliminator, and I'm done.
All right, the moment of truth, man. We got the big speakers, the volume knob with the amplifier. We got the intercooler, the intake manifold, the turbo and exhaust. I mean, are you ready?
Yeah, what an upgrade on this car, man. I can't wait to get into it. When I mean get into it, I mean mad it.
Man, maybe we should have done a brake upgrade at the same time. We gotta slow this sucker down.
Man, this thing is silly fast. Stupid.